You know, it took years for us to get to where we are today. You know, the legislature became full-time, what, 40 years ago? It's taken a long time. But I think it's also going to take a long time to undo the state's dysfunction. So we don't expect to have all the answers just a day and a half as we've sat here. But we do have some starting points to really help us get on the road to rebuilding California. And we, the cities, the counties, and the schools, have a long history of working across party lines. We're elected through nonpartisan races, and we're seeking to reinstate our communities so our constituents in the state governance process will actually see decisions made at a local level. And so we can't any longer sacrifice what's good public policy for partisan politics, because that's why things are so broken. So what do we do now? How do we really rebuild California from the ground up? That's the big question we need to be asking. We must unite and continue to work together from today forward. At this summit, we have planted a seed that could germinate and grow into something very big. We, the cities, the counties, and the schools, we need to remain united in our efforts. We need to recognize that we represent the same people. We have the same constituents. We need to listen to the people, and we need to speak with one voice. And that message is that substantial reform is necessary and must be done from the ground up, building a stronger foundation of community government. That's our key message. And we must get this message out to the neighborhoods any way we can. So I'm going to ask everybody to make sure you've got a pen and paper ready, and you should write some of these things down. Because these are some of the basic important steps that we need to take going forward from today. First, we need to organize neighborhood meetings. When you get home, you need to get people together. You need to meet for coffee. Get them engaged. Get them fired up. Let them hear some of the things that you've heard here yesterday and today. Please take a look at this blue handout that's in your packet. Everybody should have it. And in fact, if you go to the last page, you'll see a sample of what that community meeting is. The agenda is right there. Collect addresses, email addresses at every community meeting you hold. That's so very important. Use these lists and email folks and start sharing with these people our united message. Create a letter writing campaign. This is so very important. We need letter writing campaigns to our legislators, to our local newspapers. You need to write letters to the editor. Don't think somebody else is going to do it. You've got the message here. You, like Chris said, you know, it's about you. It's not the person on your left. It's not the person on your right. If everybody in this room wrote a letter to the editor, if everybody in this room wrote letters to the legislature, imagine if everybody in this room got these community meetings together and got them to do it. What would happen? This is where we need to use these lists. We need to use our email list. We need to get these letters written. We need to set up phone banks to legislators, and we need to tell them how we feel. Because these are extremely powerful methods that can reach quickly a vast following. So I'd like to just see a show of hands out of curiosity. Raise your hand in here if you're on Facebook. Let me see. Fantastic. That's great. Raise your hand if you're on Twitter. Raise your hand if you're on MySpace. All right, well, you know, that's a good crowd. I mean, that is outstanding. But I got to tell you, you've seen firsthand how quickly you can build a network and how you can exchange ideas with people. You know, I know Don Saylor's here from Davis. See Don in the back of the room. I probably get a new Facebook update from Don almost every other day about something that's going on in Davis. But he talks about the coffees he's holding. He talks about town halls. He talks about meetings. That is using social networking the way it was built. And ladies and gentlemen, if each and every one of you did that and started talking about rebuilding California from the ground up, just think of the people you would reach. So it's important that we use these things to see how fast that network will grow. Because it's important that we do things like As Rick mentioned, on Facebook is the site Rebuilding California. How many of you in here have joined up? I know it can't be everybody because the list wasn't that big. There's only 260 fans as of a little bit ago when I was in my hotel room putting this together. How many of you in here are friends of Rebuilding California? Okay. If you didn't raise your hand, as soon as you go home, get on your computer, get on Facebook, and join Rebuilding California. Because that's how we're going to get the message out to you, so you can get the message out to others. That's how this works. So it's really important. And I expect a friend's request from each one of you, too, by the way. So get on Facebook. You know, it's important that you create these email campaigns. Write a blog. Create a website. You know, do everything you can that we can share our united message. Trust me, your kids, your grandkids, they know how to do this stuff already. So if you don't know how to do it, ask them. What a great way to think that you could sit down with your kids or your grandkids and ask them to show you how to create a blog or how to do this Facebook page. Use this as an opportunity to learn from each other. Use this as an opportunity to get our youth, the next generation, involved. You know, and engage our young people. You know, this is a way that you can ignite them in government by letting them teach you how they communicate. Wouldn't it be great if each and everybody in this room, wouldn't it be great if each and everybody in here started a blog? And when you talk in that blog about reform, when you talk about rebuilding California. So what is this all about? The message is simple. The message is that substantial reform is necessary and it must be done from the ground up. We must work to build a stronger foundation of community government. And so, I challenge to continue this dialogue. I challenge you to spread this message to your communities, to your constituents. We need to work together. And you have to understand, folks, this is not an overnight process. This is the beginning of a revolution. What we started here today will likely become a series of ballot propositions from a much broader coalition. So let's keep this momentum going. Let's keep the message simple, and let's get back to basics, and let's do what we can to put government back in the hands of the people. Thank you very much.